January 29th, the executive branch comes and they give a briefing to all the U.S. senators, whoever showed up, that offered to everybody, and said, hey, coronavirus is going to be terrible. We're going to shut down the economy. It's going to be awful. So 4 of them, immediately, at least 4 that we know of, leave that briefing, and the first 2, instead of making a call to, how do we solve this problem or how to mitigate the effects, instead they make a call to a stockbroker. And they unload a bunch of stock, disaster. It's and now, at least one Republican senator is under, I guess, some kind of federal investigation for this. Here's the problem. What they did, by and large, was totally legal. Now, it's gross, it's immoral, but it's totally legal. And so what I've proposed as a remedy to this, and it's part of, well, I'll talk about it in a second, but as a remedy to this is something that extends what was passed in 2012 called the Stock Act. And what I proposed is something called the SIT Act, the Stop Insider Trading Act, which would do simply this. It would require every member of Congress, when they're sworn in, to put all of their holdings in a blind trust, so there's a firewall between the person who is the member of Congress and the person who's managing the funds. And the reason for that is because these people get exposed to private information all the time.
That's right.
And it's information that you don't have and I don't have and nobody has except them. And so they can profit on that 3 or 4 days in advance of the rest of everybody finding out. And that's how people like Nancy Pelosi, who's been in government for like 50 years, is a zillionaire. And it's partially because she's been able to make a lot of money on her private knowledge. And so the SIT Act would stop that. And furthermore, it's part of a larger idea. And the larger idea is that what we need in Washington is servants and not masters, and people who want to have the best interests of the people at heart instead of people who are there to serve themselves. And I think that's another stark contrast between myself and Senator Warner, is that he's been in politics, basically his entire life. Even his 10 years in the private sector was his time to take advantage of the information he had gotten and the connections he had made on Capitol Hill as a Senate staffer right before that. So that's not a completely apolitical time of his career timeline.
So you think this is a problem of Washington, D.C. that's solvable?
Yeah.
That's just the way things have been done. We're just going to let this happen, and now it's just time to end the practice and really safeguard them from not knowing whether they've broken the trust of the people or not. I mean, sometimes you get like you said, you could be possibly aware of something and make a decision and it not have anything to do with what you were working on, or you could not be in knowledge of, but the assumption could be that you should have known. And I think we need to get back to, you should know these things, and it's okay to put these things in a blind trust and just get it out of the people's perception, because we need to rebuild trust in this country more than anything else.
Yeah. Is there anybody out there, of however many people are watching this, is there anybody out there who says, oh yeah, I trust government to do the right thing. I trust my public officials to do the right thing? If you're out there, I have a bridge to sell you, actually. There's so few people in Washington, D.C. who are trustworthy that it's time to send people there who've demonstrated by a lifetime of living that they are trustworthy. And that's my goal in this race, is to earn the trust of the people of Virginia. Republicans, yes, of course, but independents and Democrats too. I want them to see my lifetime of service and say, yes, he can represent us. We will give him that honor.